On June 1st, 2018, I was in a school shooting.
There is a heavy police presence at Mckinney North High School.
This morning, a teenage boy went into an empty classroom at Mckinney North High School.
With just a week to go in the school year, Mckinney North High School went on lockdown.
Another gun made its way into a North Texas high school. A student is dead as a result today. Police say the gunshot was self-inflicted. All of this happened inside Mckinney North High School,
where police say a student shot themselves and died from that self-inflicted gunshot wound this morning.
On June 1st, 2018, I was in a school shooting. I attended Mckinney North High School, which is in North Texas, kind of just outside of the Dallas area. I first started high school in 2017, so this happened my freshman year of high school, right at the end of the school year in 2018. It was a Friday, almost the weekend, and we only had a few more days of school left, and we were kind of in like the finals stage where we were taking our tests and exams and getting ready for summer. It's so interesting because that morning when I was getting ready for school, I put on a really cute outfit. Like, I was looking really cute. I had on some white jeans. They were pretty tight. They had rips in them. I don't even think they were in the dress code, honestly. But my outfit was really cute. It was like an all-white outfit, and I bring that up because I made it a point to dress cute that day because it was Friday. It was almost end of school. I didn't really care about the dress code anymore. Nobody really did. And so I thought that was going to be the main event of the day, was me wearing this outfit with these white jeans and this cute outfit that I wanted to wear that day. And it started off as a normal day. I had left my third period English class and I walked right down the hallway to my fourth period class because it was right down the hallway. It wasn't very far. It was kind of in the middle of passing period, so a bunch of people were walking in the hallway, so you could still and the teacher still had the door open, so I just saw a bunch of people just walking during the passing period. And usually during passing period, I'm not in my class. I usually go to the bathroom and just have my time to decompress before I go to the next class. But I don't remember if I went to the bathroom or not, but I was in the class when passing period was still happening, thankfully, because if I wasn't, I don't know if I would have got stuck somewhere else. I don't know how that would have happened. But I made it to my fourth period class. I'm in biology. Jesus. It is so hard for me to talk about this, as you can imagine. I've put off making this video for many reasons, because I didn't want to talk about it, but it's been 7 years since it happened, and it's still on my mind because I'm still living in Mckinney. But anyways, made it to fourth period, and I'm in my fourth period class, and all of a sudden the sirens start coming on saying that this is a lockdown. This is not a drill. This is a we're in lockdown. We're going into lockdown. And the sirens always say that, whether it's a drill or not, because we have a lot of lockdown drills, as you can imagine, being in America, having a lot of school shootings. We practice for this stuff a lot of times. So we have a lot of drills. But the thing is, nobody knew that we were supposed to have a drill this day. Usually when you have a drill, some of the teachers know. They find out, word gets around, oh, we're going to have a drill today. So just so y'all know, we're going to have a fire drill, just so y'all know. No, none of the teachers knew what was happening. No student knew what was happening. Nobody knew what was going on. That was the number one thing. So first I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe it's just like an extra super secret. They didn't tell nobody. They want everybody to just be on their P's and Q's, but it's still a drill. But then when you also think about it, it's June 1st, end of the school year. We have 3 days left of school. We're supposed to be in finals mode. Why are we having a lockdown drill? That doesn't make sense. So as we're all assessing what's going on, we're preparing for the drill. Everybody's coming into the classrooms, and the teachers coming in, closing the door. And as I'm looking out the door, because like I said, this is during passing period, and I can see out of the door and I see people walking during passing period. But once this drill started happening, I started seeing people running. I'm seeing people running in the hallway, running down the stairs, because the stairs were not that far away, running towards the stairs. I'm seeing people running. So that's another thing that lets off signs in my head, what if something's actually going on? But then I'm thinking, okay, maybe people are running just because it's a drill, because they want to get to their classroom. They want to like, they want to be safe somewhere. Like they're trying to get to wherever they're supposed to go because they're in passing period. So I'm not thinking of nothing of it. And I'm just thinking it's a drill. And we come into the classroom, and obviously we do what you're supposed to do, which is like not be in sight of the door. Like the teacher covers the thing, like the window of the door, so nobody can see in the door. You lock the door, you sit in like a corner in the classroom, and like you be quiet, nobody's on their phones, and like all of that types of stuff. So we're in this drill, and by the time it gets to about 15 minutes, this is the longer we're in lockdown, the longer people start asking questions, and people start wondering, okay, is this really a drill? Like, because the teacher didn't know about it, and I saw people running, and so is this really a drill or what? By like 15 minutes, we're all kind of freaking out just a little bit at this point, because nobody knows what's going on. And of course there are those kids that do not care about their lives, that when we have certain drills, they don't care and they make noise anyway. We had some of those in our classes, of course, because people didn't think it was real. They thought it was a drill. And in the class that I was in, I did not have good service, so I wasn't even able to really get my text delivered to my family, and mind you, I'm a freshman in high school. I have 2 other family members that go to school with me, my older cousin and my older sister, and they're both in the same grade, and at this time they're juniors in high school, and they're in the same school with me. So I'm also worried about my family because they're in the school with me. So it's just so many layers on things. Like, we're all in different places throughout the school, all in different classes. Nobody knows where each other are. My text won't go through, so it's a scary situation. Now we're still in lockdown, and honestly, we were in lockdown for over an hour, about an hour and 15 minutes. We were in lockdown, and as you can imagine, the longer and longer it goes on, the more and more we know this is not a drill. Something actually happened in the school. And so, being teenagers, people are on Snapchat. I feel like the worst people got service that day, because I didn't have service, so I wasn't able to text my family to see if they were okay. But no, the people with service were on Snapchat texting their friends and trying to figure out what was going on. Somebody said, oh, I think somebody got stabbed. I think somebody brought a knife and there was a fight and somebody was stabbed. Somebody said, oh, I think somebody, had this, or somebody did. Like, there's so many different situations of what could have went down because nobody knows what happened. And being high schoolers, people are just throwing out these random ideas of things that is like, this is not what's like, they're fear mongering at this point. Like, just shut up, because clearly you don't know what's going on. Just shut up. But in that classroom, it was an isolating experience. I couldn't reach out to my family. I didn't have many friends in that class. I was a freshman in high school, undiagnosed autistic. I didn't have friends for real. I didn't have anybody that I really clicked with, and so I was freaking out on the inside, but I wasn't crying. Because there were people who were in certain groups that were like really freaking out. They were crying because they were friends and they were like, consoling each other. I didn't have that. I was just sitting against the wall with my knees up, like, just paying attention. The teacher's freaking out because she doesn't know what's going on, obviously. Other kids that are still thinking it's a drill, thinking it's a joke, just playing around, and there are other people who are telling them, hey, like, this is clearly not a joke anymore. Like, it's just so much going on. And I'm just sitting there silent, just observing every single thing, because I don't know if this is about to be my last day alive. And also, my cousin who was in the school with me, apparently he had service in his class, and he was able to like reach my mother, and he called my mother, or like he left a voicemail, or he left something where he was like somebody bad's in the school, something bad is happening. If I never get to see you again, just know that I love you. Like, imagine my mother hearing this, thinking the worst possible thing happened. Thankfully, we're all alive, but it's just, you're thinking the worst possible thing could have happened. Like, especially being in America, you never know. So it was just a very scary moment. But eventually when I got service, I got a little bit of service, and I was able to go on Twitter, and I went to my school's Twitter page, and I saw, like, we were still in lockdown, but I saw a report or something, or like the Mckinney Police Department, somebody was reporting what was happening, and they said gunshot, like a student brought gun to school, like let off a gun, or like self-inflicted gunshot. Like, that's what I'm seeing. And this is finally when we get some answers, and we know that somebody brought a gun to school, and also somebody shot themselves with said gun in the school. We don't know who somebody is. It's unidentified. They don't know anything. But now we know why we're in lockdown. We're still in lockdown though. And eventually people come to get us out. Like, they knock on the door and stuff. And I kid you not, this moment is so vivid in my brain, because it's like, it really put it into perspective, like what the situation was. You would think seeing on Twitter like that, like somebody brought a gun, a self-inflicted gunshot wound, like you would think seeing that would put it into perspective, like, oh, like it did a little bit. But what really did it for me was the people that brought us out of lockdown, the people that knocked on the door, that unlocked the door and came into the classroom. It was the SWAT team. Like, we're looking at the SWAT team, like members of the SWAT team bringing us out of lockdown with their AK-47s, with their whole little uniform. Like, I was like, I'd never seen nobody on a SWAT team. I'd never seen nothing like this before. So I'm like, what is going on? What's going on? We're escorted out of the school, and you have the option to go to a neighboring kind of high school, or to go to one of the neighboring middle schools. Like, they're giving people the option of where you want to go, how you want to do. But if you drove to school, they let you drive back home, or drive like off the school because your car is there. And thankfully my sister drove to school, and I think my cousin drove to school too, so we all were able to just leave after and not get on the bus to go to a different school. But we were escorted out by the SWAT team. When we got outside, more of the SWAT team just sitting there holding AK-47s, just looking around, like, just they're just out there. They're just out there, and it's scary, because the last thing that I expected that day was to be escorted off of the school campus by the SWAT team. I expected that day to be about my white jeans and my outfit that was not in dress code, not to be escorted off of the school by the SWAT team because somebody brought a gun to school and committed suicide in my English teacher's classroom. After all of this happened, I learned that it happened in my English teacher's classroom. And if you rewind, I just came out of my English teacher's classroom. Right before I went to biology class for my 4th period, my 3rd period was English. I was in my English teacher's classroom probably 15 minutes before, not even, probably 5 minutes before that happened. My English teacher resigned after that year. She went to teach at a different school, which I don't blame her at all. I would have left too. But apparently she was the one who kind of like walked in on what was happening and kind of experienced the whole thing. And some of the people that were running in the hallway afterwards, I think I saw her, like, it puts so much into perspective, because I did see people running, and I was right next to, like, the classroom that I was in after that passing period was not even like down the hallway from the classroom I had just left where all of this happened. So it makes sense as to why I saw people running in the hallway and why all of that was happening. They probably heard it. Maybe and when you look at reports, it says that nobody heard it. Nobody, like, they don't ever name the person either, and I'm not gonna name him either, but I do know his name. And there was like a memorial type of thing for him, but it just felt like, literally after we left school that day, me and my family, we went to Chili's, and we were eating like a chocolate chip cookie with the ice cream, and we were just laughing, and like, obviously I went through something traumatic, but it didn't necessarily feel like it, because I don't think it hit everybody of what actually happened and like how scary the situation was. And mind you, this happened on a Friday and the next week was only like maybe 3 days of school before we had to end, and we had like finals and stuff. They canceled finals. Nobody had to take a final for real. They had like maybe like busy work that counted as a final, but like nobody really cared about it because obviously everybody experienced something very scary 3 days before. But we were back in school, and they were saying like if you needed to talk to somebody, they had like people that you could talk to and counselors and things like that. And but it just afterwards it felt like people just got over it. Like people were talking about it, of course, because it's something that you talk about, but it's like months later it was like, oh, we're just back in school again, like da da da. Like it's I didn't even think that I had PTSD from that moment. I had never considered myself to be somebody with PTSD. And it's been 7 years since that happened, which is why I feel like it's symbolic that I'm talking about it now, because 7 is like a symbolic number for me. But I think I do have PTSD from that. Being in, and I've graduated college, and I went to Texas A&M. We sat in very huge lecture halls, like 300, 400 students at one time, listening to one lecture with the doors behind us. That drove me absolutely insane. It drove me insane because I can't see who's coming in. I can't see who's going. It drives me crazy when I go to a movie theater because I think somebody could have a gun. Somebody could, because when you the more that you think about it, like you go to school thinking that you're going to be safe, that this stuff isn't going to happen, that you're not going to have to worry about people having a gun or having whatever, because you're going to school to learn to not to be worried about that stuff, and you are. And now I am wherever I go. I am worried. I'm scared being in America. I am worried. I'm scared every single day, and I try not to think about it. I try not to worry about it because something's gonna happen. It's gonna happen, but it's like I wish somebody would do something. I wish somebody would, and I wish something would stick to where people understand that like this is terrible, that this destroys people, that this is terrible, and that like I just will never understand. I will never understand. And afterwards, when you look at the news stories, they say that there was no real motive, that there wasn't a motive to use the gun on other people. But when you think about it, why do you bring a gun to a school campus if not to use it on people? It was a self-inflicted gunshot wound. He only committed suicide, so nobody else lost their life except the person that brought the gun to school that day. However, why bring the gun to school if your plan is to commit suicide? You could have did that at home. You could, not that I'm condoning that, but what I'm saying is I feel there's clearly more of a motive there, because why else would you? So what the story that people think of what happened is that the kid brought the gun to school with, a list of people, like how it normally I feel like happens, with a list of people that they want to hurt and what they want to do with it and something to plan out. But he got found out, it was found that he had a gun and somebody told on him or whatever, and so he just committed suicide in the school because he knew he was going to get trouble for having the gun anyways, and he couldn't carry out the plan, and so he just shot himself. That's what people think the story is. What the real story is, I have no clue, because I don't know him. I never talked to him. I don't know. Nobody knows. So take with that what you will. And there are people who are really close to the student who defend him against people who say it's why would you ever do that? Why would you bring a gun to school? And the people who defend him, who are close to him, say that he was bullied. He was bullied in school. He was mistreated. People treated him wrong, and he was depressed and things like that, and he was not having a good experience. Obviously, I mean, I don't know who's having a good experience that does things like that, but hey. But it just also puts it in perspective to the people who say bring bullying back. We need more bullying. Do we really? And it's so heartbreaking because a kid lost their life that day, and that kid didn't even need to lose his life. He didn't. Nobody needed to lose their life. The gun didn't even need to be brought to school. It didn't. None of that needed to happen, but it did. And it sucks that it did. September is Suicide Awareness Month. This is obviously a story of suicide that ended very tragically and sad. That could have ended a lot worse. That could have turned into a lot more than it did. There are many suicidal teenagers out there, honestly. I myself have had suicidal ideation. Not that I've been close to actually doing it or that I've tried to, but I have thought about it a lot, and I am here to tell you that that is never the way to go about anything in your life. If you're having hard times, if you're dealing with something, there's always people that you can talk to, no matter how alone you feel, no matter, even if it's just talking to yourself or talking to one person, one friend, like, and being so grateful of the life that you are able to have, even if it's not amazing by any means. And I realize some people are in some very terrible situations that they are just born into, that they have to endure, and it's so hard, and it gets so hard, and I realize that. But the world is a much better place with you here, and I can promise you that. As long as you're alive, there's still so much more happiness that you can add to this world. No matter what you've done in the past, no matter what your actions have been in the past, you're able to change who you are, change what your morals are, what values you align with, no matter how old you are, no matter what you've been through. As long as you are alive, you have the choice to make changes, to do whatever you need to do in order to bring happiness to yourself. And I just think suicide is just never the answer, even if it is screaming at you. That's not what you want, babe. I promise. You want to live. I promise. It's a great thing. It's a great thing. I share this story because obviously this needs to be talked about, and this is something that happens so often that it's so sad. Like, when you look at how often a school shoot, like how many school shootings we've had this year alone, it's sad. It's saddening. Every single time another shooting happens at a school or at church, at whatever the place is, like, it always brings me back to the shooting that I was in. And I was in another one too in college, and it's just terrible. Like, something really needs to be done about it. Gun control, whether you believe in it or not, gun restriction, whether you believe in it or not, you have to look at the facts and the statistics and see how many people are affected by this every single year, and then ask yourself, is it worth it or not? Like, is it worth it for real? Is it? Because I don't think it is. There are so many resources and campaigns that are going for gun control that are trying to do something about it, and there's also many like hotlines that you can call if you are somebody who is thinking of suicide or somebody who has very dark thoughts. There are so many resources and things out there for you to use, and I'll put some of them in the description down below. And also, if you ever just need somebody to talk to, DM me on Instagram. I am an open book. I like to talk to people on there, and I'm a good listener. So if you feel like you have nobody, you have me. But I just hate for people to feel so alone and so depressed and isolated in this world when there are so many people out there that can help you and that want to help. And yeah, I think I've said all that I need to say. I don't know if there's more for me to say. But thank you so much for watching this video, for listening to my story. This took a lot of courage for me to film, and I've been wanting to do it all month, and I'm finally doing it. So I hope you enjoy it, and hopefully this can enact some change, even if it's just change of opinion or something. But thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Oh goodness. Gang gang.